Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. We are waiting for the sentencing of Sean Diddy Combs. The prosecution is asking for at least 10 years, and his defense is saying he should be released by December. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 418 points, the S&P 500 has gained 31, and the NASDAQ is also increased 53 points. Coming up, sun, rain, and cooler temps. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Provo Airport connects you to the world with a travel experience that's convenient, stress-free, and close to home. Whether you're a family heading to sunny beaches or a solo traveler chasing viral mountain views, or a couple embarking on an overseas adventure. When you fly Provo, your journey starts with ease. From the moment you arrive at Provo Airport, convenience is built in. Skip the long drives, park steps from the terminal, and move quickly through check-in and security with short lines, a relaxed atmosphere, and welcoming staff. Provo Airport makes air travel simple and enjoyable. With service from Allegiant Air, American Airlines, and Breeze Airways, you can access hundreds of destinations across more than 60 countries. Anywhere you want to go, fly Provo. Visit flyprovoairport.com. That's flyprovoairport.com.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
J&J Garden Center is your fall headquarters. Now through November 1st, save 20% on perennials, shrubs, containerized trees, soils, fountains, and more. You'll also find clearance trees up to 50% off. Fall is the perfect time to plant pansies, mums, and fall bulbs. Don't forget pumpkins, gourds, straw bales, and corn stalks. Plus, explore our gift shop for cozy fall decor and seasonal finds. Hurry and visit us in Layton today, and let's get your garden fall ready. J&J Garden Center, where fall begins.
As you gather for General Conference, visit the book table on historic Main Street in Logan. Find uplifting Latter-day Saint books, study journals and markers, temple art, and thoughtful missionary gifts. Keep little ones engaged with quiet books, puzzles, and Sunday-friendly games. From inspiring music to home decor, make the most of conference weekend with the book table. Shop mainstreetbooktable.com or stop in today. The Book Table, where your story begins.
We're going to break right now to Speaker Mike Johnson, who's addressing the nation regarding the government shutdown as we speak.
This is the counterproposal continuing resolution that Chuck Schumer and the Senate Democrats filed. 2 weeks ago, mid-September, the House passed a clean, simple continuing resolution. It merely continues the Biden-era policies and spending that we're enduring right now for 7 more weeks to allow the appropriations process to continue. That's Republicans and Democrats in both chambers working together to get the government funded. We ran out of time because the end of the fiscal year is September 30th. We needed a few more weeks, so we sent it over. Ours is 24 pages in length. It says, let's just keep the status quo so this process, this procedure, this regular order can be done. Chuck Schumer rejected that. Senate Democrats rejected that. Now 3 times they voted against that measure, and this is what they propose in advance, in exchange for that. So instead, the counterproposal, this is page 57, This is on our website. Go to speaker.gov. You can get all these visual aids for yourself, all right? Page 57, section 2141. You see the highlighted language. There's a lot of legalese in this legislation, in these bills, but it says that they want to repeal the health subtitle changes. What does that refer to? You read down here, Public Law 119-21. That's the one big beautiful bill. That's the American Families Tax Cut. What they want to do is repeal the very important and necessary changes that Republicans voted to put into law. President Trump signed that into law on July 4th, triumphantly on Independence Day. It was a great marquee achievement for lots of reasons. Some of the most important provisions in that law was that it eliminated fraud and abuse of our health system. Medicaid has been rife with fraud and abuse, and so we reformed it. Why? To help provide more and better health services for the American people. Because the problem with Medicaid is it's been abused. We had so many people on Medicaid that never were intended to be there. Medicaid was written for the people who need it most, the elderly, the disabled, sometimes young pregnant women who are in difficult situations. But the resources are being drained. You know why? Because there was two primary categories of people that should never have been there in the first place. One was able-bodied young men who are riding the wagon who should be working. We got them back to work. And the other thing that we focused on was the illegal aliens. By the CBO's estimate, about 1.4 million illegal aliens were receiving Medicaid benefits that were intended only for U.S. citizens that met the categories I just described. They were gaming the system. They were cheating the system. And what that means is that less resources were available for the people, the Americans who actually needed it most. So we did the common sense thing, the right thing, the just thing, and we put it in the law, and the president signed that, gladly signed it into law. They want to repeal it. They want to give those resources back to illegal aliens. That's exactly what that highlighted language means. On this exhibit number 2 over here, I feel like I'm back in court. Exhibit number 2, okay? This is the specifics of what that would mean. When we say they want to give $200 billion back to illegal aliens, these are the specifics. If you read the legalese here in the language in the bill on page 57 and what follows, that's what it's talking about. These are all the various provisions. In the chart over here, those are listed in millions. So you see the final total there, $192.8 billion of your hard-earned taxpayer dollars that Chuck Schumer and the Democrats want to give back to illegal aliens. That's a fact, and nobody can refute it. Now look, what we've done is very simple. We sent over a continuing clean resolution. This is standard practice around here. And all the Democrats who are voting against it in the Senate right now, every single one of them have given impassioned speeches about how you must pass continuing resolutions, you must pass CRs, you should never shut down the government because it's dangerous and destructive and selfish and wrong. Well, suddenly they've changed their tune. We're playing, I invite you all after the press conference to go by the Speaker's office in the hallway there, and you can see the highlight reel of all of them saying this passionately, as recently as March of this last year when Chuck Schumer led his caucus to vote for the same CR. They did it 13 times during the Biden administration in the previous 4 years, but suddenly they won't do it. So everybody has to ask themselves why. It has nothing to do with health care. The subsidies that they're saying is the issue is not the issue. That is an issue for the end of the year. December 31 is when that expires. So Congress has 3 months to negotiate that. Certainly we could work on it in the month of October to find some consensus and figure that out, what reforms there may be necessary to make all that happen. Republicans are committed to the health care of Americans. We have already proven that we are making health care more efficient and effective and more available so that we can bring down cost and premiums and improve quality of care. We put the goods on paper. We're doing that. And the CBO analysis that came out August 25th said that these changes that we put in our bill are doing exactly that. The Congressional Budget Office is not a Republican shop, as you all know. They typically go against what I'm doing, okay, but they had to admit that this is going to make 2.3 ineligible recipients no longer on the Medicaid rolls. It's going to save $185 billion for taxpayers. That's exactly what we promised, and that's what's going to be achieved. But we have more reforms coming to try to fix Obamacare, which is not working for the people. But you need common sense, responsible Republicans who are serious about...
We are hearing from House Speaker Mike Johnson as he addresses the nation regarding an upcoming vote, which will be in about 2 hours. The Senate's going to vote for the fourth time whether or not to pass the continuing resolution and get the government running again, or whether there's still going to be an impasse. And he's talking about why they should pass the continuing resolution.
Is probably going to elect a Marxist for mayor. He's terrified by that development. Chuck Schumer is a far-left progressive politician, but he's not far enough left for this base. And so he's got to show a fight against the president. He's got to show that he's fighting Republicans. And because they're playing political games, and they're not doing what he himself said passionately as recently as 6 months ago that must be done, that you passed a standard bipartisan CR. Because he needs political cover, he is dragging the American people through this. And who's getting hurt? Women, infants, and children, nutrition programs that are now stalled, veterans' health services that will not be provided, people who are low-income Medicare recipients who receive telehealth and health treatment at home. Many of those programs are not being funded. We have troops and TSA agents and Border Patrol agents who are working without pay, protecting the country. And you have FEMA services, health insurance policies, for example, that are being stalled in the middle of a hurricane season because the Democrats want to play political games and try to obscure the real facts at issue. We challenge them. We challenge them to tell us why they're not trying to give illegal aliens health care again when they put it in their own bill. This is not Republicans playing games. I could have put Republican conservative priorities on the CR and sent it over there, but I didn't. And so when you all ask me, why aren't you negotiating with them, I don't have anything to negotiate. Leader Thune and I can't take off Republican priorities that we put in the CR and say, hey, is that better? Could you vote for that? Because we didn't put them on there in the first place. Why? Because Republicans are being responsible. We're operating in good faith, and we're trying to get the Democrats to do their job, and they won't. Those are the simple facts, and they cannot be obscured. I'm so grateful for the strong leadership of my colleague and partner over in the Senate, and I'd love Leader Thune to give you a little update here.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Speaker is right. We have an opportunity to pick up a House-passed bill that, if it passes the Senate, will be sent to the White House. The President will sign it, and the government will reopen. It's that simple and that straightforward, and that's all we're talking about here. All we need is a handful more Democrats. We have a majority of senators, 55 senators, have already voted for this clean, short-term, nonpartisan CR. As the Speaker said, no policy riders, no gimmicks, nothing in here that benefits Republicans. This is a straight-up 7-week funding resolution, and we need it to keep the government open. And if we don't keep the government open, you'll have all the things that the Speaker just alluded to, all the Americans who are adversely impacted by this government shutdown. Now, this is something, as you all know, as recently as the last administration, during the Biden administration, when the Democrats had the majority here in the United States Senate, the Democrats on 13 different occasions voted for this, a short-term continuing resolution. Now, I have to ask, what's changed? What's different about this? What's different is who's in the White House. That's what it's about. It's all about President Trump and the Democrats needing to pick a fight to satisfy their far-left political base, far-left activist organizations who are the tail wagging the dog right now. That's all this is about. And you have a Democrat leader from New York in the Senate, a Democrat leader in the House from New York, and you have a mayoral race in New York, you've got AOC, you've got all these people that are bringing pressure to bear on what should be a routine, simple, straightforward proposition, and that is a short-term continuing resolution to keep the government funded, which is sitting right now. This is sitting at the Senate desk. We will have a vote, another hour or two, and it'll be the fourth time that Democrats will have an opportunity to vote to keep the government open. Now, at some point, reason, good sense, common sense has to take effect here, because that's really what this is. They brought to us, and the Speaker alluded to all the impacts on illegals and free health care programs in this country, a bill loaded with $1.5 trillion in new spending, which includes all these provisions. And they want to load that onto a 7-week continuing resolution to fund the government. Now, what's happening right now when the government is shut down, all the things that we could be doing, the defense authorization bill, which benefits every congressional district, every state across this country.
We're hearing from Senate Majority Leader John Thune as he addresses the nation regarding a vote that the Senate's about to take. It'll be the fourth vote to see if we can pass a continuing resolution and get the government back going again. That's going to be at about 11:30 local time, 1:30 Eastern time.
We didn't do appropriations bills. We didn't put them on the floor. They marked them up in committee, and then they died. And then he wrote it behind closed doors in his office. That's the difference. We are opening this process up, and one of the things that's not getting done while the government is shut down is an appropriations process that allows us to fund the government the old-fashioned way in the light of day. We aren't working on permitting reform, which should be a bipartisan priority. We aren't working on a farm bill. We got a lot of farm policy this summer in the Working Families Tax Cuts bill, but there's more to do there. Those should be bipartisan things that we could be working together on, along with appropriations. All those things aren't getting done right now because the Senate Democrats have chosen to shut the government down. They have an opportunity, a fourth time today, fourth time to vote to open up the government and to allow us to do the rest of the work that the American people expects us to do. They have taken hostage the federal government and, by extension, the American people, who are the only losers in this. Everybody's talking about who wins and who loses and who gets the blame. That's not what this is about. This is about what's doing in the best interest of the American people. And what's in the best interest of the American people is keeping the government open and operating so it can continue to work on their behalf.
A few questions? Yeah, right here.
Are you at all concerned that this decision by the administration to block some of these infrastructure projects, to take some of these blue states and target them, that could backfire on the momentum you guys have to try and break the stalemate and open up the government?
So the question is about the executive and the White House and what they're doing in this situation. Everybody needs to understand how this works. When Congress decides to turn off the lights, to shut the government down, it shifts the authority to the executive branch. That's how the process works. The person who has decided to put the White House in that situation is Chuck Schumer, who leads the Democrats, the 44 who keep voting to keep the government from opening up. They're voting to shut it down. So what happens in that situation? Whoever is the president, whoever is sitting in the White House, and their staffs at the Office of Management and Budget are given an unenviable task. It's a regretful situation. They have to then determine, since the spigots have been effectively turned off and there's no more money coming in, they have to then prioritize, triage effectively, federal spending. They have to look at all of that and say, you know, which things are deemed essential and which are non-essential, which priorities, policies, and personnel must be kept to keep the government operating, and which are less of a priority. So whomever is sitting in the White House gets to then apply their lenses of review. We happen to have a Republican, a conservative administration. We're very grateful for that. We're limited government conservatives. We think the government's too big. We think the federal government is too big. It does too many things, and it does almost nothing well. And so it serves the taxpayers to send less of their hard-earned money to Washington and keep more in their pockets. That's what we're advancing through the One Big Beautiful Bill and all the legislative priorities that we achieve. But see, sometimes Democrats, not sometimes, all the time, Democrats don't agree with that because they love big government. I mean, listen to them. They want the government to control every aspect of your lives, and they need all of your hard-earned dollars to do that. In fact, they'd like to take them all. That's what the socialists are arguing for. That's what the Marxists believe. We believe the opposite. So here's this situation. Here's the president, the current occupant of the White House, that's been given this opportunity by Chuck Schumer. And he's a limited government conservative. He's looking at that and saying, gee, you know, this is inefficient, this is ineffective. And we'd never get Democrat votes to limit that because they never vote to limit government, ever. It's against their religion. But he has that opportunity now to say, this is a program that would serve the American people if it were not funded, because government would be more efficient and effective, and that serves everyone. So they're going to make those decisions. Now, are they taking great pleasure in that? No. Is he trolling the Democrats? Yes. I mean, yes, because that's what President Trump does, and people are having fun with this. But at the end of the day, the decisions are tough ones. And I've met with him. I talked yesterday at length with Russ Vought, who's the director of the Office of Management and Budget. Russ takes no pleasure in this. Russ wants to see a smaller, more efficient, more lean, effective federal government as we do, but he doesn't want people to lose jobs. He doesn't want to do that, but he has, that's his responsibility. So he's very carefully, methodically, very deliberately looking through that to see which decisions can be made in the best interest of the American people. That's his obligation, and that's his real desire. The president takes no pleasure in this, but if Chuck Schumer is going to give Donald Trump the opportunity to determine what the priorities are, he's going to exercise that opportunity, and that's where we are. Chad.
Square something for me here. How can you say that they take no pleasure in this, and then the next minute say, oh, they're just having fun and trolling people? This is a government shutdown. On one hand, you say this is very serious, that people's jobs are on the line. On the other hand, you say, oh, this is just fun and games and they're trolling.
So the effects are very serious on real people, real Americans. We support federal employees who do a great job in all these different areas, but what they're trying to have fun with, trying to make light of, is to point out the absurdity of the Democrats' position. And they're using memes and all the tools of social media to do that. Some people, find that entertaining, but at the end of the day, the decisions are hard ones, and I'm telling you, they're not taking any pleasure in that. Yes, Jake.
The Democrats are saying they would like you and the leader to put in writing that you want, how you'll handle the Obamacare stuff.
So Jake is asking the Democrats' latest demand. Apparently, I haven't heard that, but they want us to put in writing how some of these unresolved questions will be resolved. Here's the problem. Some of the issues that they're bringing to the table and they're demanding immediate, easy answers for are not easy answers, and they take a long time to deliberate. That is the process. This is a deliberative body and a very large one. We got 435 over there and 100 over here. We can't snap our fingers and he and I and two other leaders in a room go, oh, well, this is the resolution. That's not how it works. So what we're trying to do to buy the extra time to get to November 21st is to give both chambers and this whole body 7 more weeks to figure that out. So it's not an easy solution. They know that very well. They know it as well as we do, but they're using that as a red herring because they want to drag this along so they can get political points. Yes.
We are expecting a vote in the Senate, their 4th vote. It'll be about 2 hours from now, and House and Senate leaders are trying to persuade the public to put a little pressure on the Democrats to get this done and get the government running again.
In the Senate, why not just stay here and work this out?
I'll give you my quick answer. I'll yield to the leader, but my quick answer is very simple. The House did its job. The House sent a bipartisan, very simple, very conventional, 24-page continuous resolution to keep the lights on. And we sent it over, we passed it, and it's been rejected by the Senate. So the House will come back into session and do its work as soon as Chuck Schumer allows us to reopen the government. That's plain and simple.
Right. Well, and as I mentioned, all the things we aren't doing, right? So we're in a shutdown posture here because of Senate Democrats. There is united support, House Republicans, Senate Republicans, a few Senate Democrats, the President of the United States, in support of keeping or opening the government back up. And right now it's being blocked by the Senate Democrats. And all it takes, as you point out, is a handful more. We get 4 or 5 more votes and we can actually pass this thing. And there are discussions going on with our colleagues on both sides of the aisle. But at some point they have to take yes for an answer. I mean, the things that people want, and I don't disagree with this at all, is a normal appropriations process, putting bills on the floor, getting conference-passed bills on the floor of the House and Senate so we can actually fund the government the old-fashioned way. And I'm all for that, and we've made that very clear to them. We can't make commitments or promises on the COVID subsidies because that's not something that we can guarantee that there are the votes there to do. But what I've said is I'm open to having conversations with our Democrat colleagues about how to address that issue. And I think that but that can't happen while the government is shut down. I mean, we've got to open up the government. And with respect to our schedule, like I said, I don't know how many times you're going to give them a chance to vote no. And hopefully over the weekend, they'll have a chance to think about it. And maybe some of these conversations start to result in something to where we can start moving some votes and actually get this thing passed. But there's nothing to be gained at this point by negotiating something that there's nothing to negotiate. I mean, I think that's essentially where we are. This is again, a straightforward, simple solution to keep the government open. And then all these other issues that we're talking about, we're happy to sit down and have conversations.
This is Senate Majority Leader John Thune talking about the upcoming vote in the Senate, hoping to get that necessary 60 votes to get the continuing resolution passed, which would allow the government to reopen again, and we could have at least until, I think, November 21st to get the budget process moving forward again.
You're in a shutdown situation. You have to manage the government. And any administration is going to make decisions based on their priorities. Figure out where to move money from here to here, this agency, this department, these employees. That's the situation the Democrats have put the administration in. Now, to your point, I mean, I think they're going to make decisions that are consistent with their priorities. And yes, they're going to have a different political view of the world than the Democrats might have, but that's what the Democrats have wrought by doing this. They are allowing the administration to do the very thing that back in March they said they didn't want to give them the authority to do, and that's to make decisions just like that. But that's what's going to happen. And again, why I'm at a loss to explain the strategy behind this, other than it generates contributions and activist energy support from the far left of the Democrat Party. If you're a Republican or a Democrat here in the Senate or in the House for that matter, who actually wants to get results and get things done, you're losing that opportunity by keeping the government shut down, and you're also handing the administration an opportunity to do things that probably in most cases you're not going to agree with.
Last question. Speaker. Is out with a new poll that shows overwhelming support, including among Republicans, to extend the Obamacare subsidies. I know you both said you want to reform them, so do you commit to doing something to address those subsidies so that insurance premiums don't spike for Americans in
Republicans commit to continue the work that we've already been doing and demonstrating to bring down costs and improve quality of care. We are committed to that, and we will do whatever is necessary to make it happen. This is one of many issues that have to be deliberated and discussed through our process. What we're asking the Democrats to do, I'll close as we began, please open the government so we can do that work, so that all the members of both chambers can be here to do the work, to legislate and to deliberate. They've stopped our ability to do that with these political antics, and we hope it ends. Thank you all for being here.
People are furloughed. Why the firings?
Seems to be the end of that. When we come back after the break, Marty Carpenter, my guest host, and I, who I haven't even had a chance to introduce yet, will talk about what we've learned, talk about where we're going, and talk about the vote that's coming up in the Senate in about 2 hours. That's straight ahead on Inside Sources.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. I'm here to warn you about telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Some of these scammers may say threatening things like you will be arrested if you don't make payments or provide personal information. Do not fall for these tricks. These calls are not from us. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you for information or money. If you receive a call like this, hang up. Never give the caller your personal information, like your Social Security number or bank account, or send money in any form, cash, gift cards, wire transfers, or prepaid debit cards. Report the call to our law enforcement arm, the Office of the Inspector General, at oig.ssa.gov. Share this information with your friends and family.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Heather Kelly. KSL's top local story this hour. Tens of thousands of people are expected in downtown Salt Lake this weekend to take part in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints 195th Semi-Annual General Conference. KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff explains.
When President Nelson passed away, the first presidency was dissolved, and President Dallin H. Oaks and Elder Henry B. Eyring returned to their places within the quorum. So, until a new first presidency is announced, the Quorum of the 12 Apostles heads the church and will preside over the conference.
President Oaks is expected to be chosen as the next president of the church, but right now we don't know when all that will happen. The traffic safety upgrades in Provo Canyon are officially complete. UDOT says they spent the summer improving drainage systems and replacing the median barrier between Canyon Glen and Vivian Parks. They say the improvements will help drivers when there is ice, snow, and water on the roads. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. A Chevron oil refinery caught fire and burned through the night in El Segundo, California, just south of the Los Angeles International Airport. Keith Moore watched from his house just a few hundred yards away.
Not a burn-off, because we've seen burn-offs here before. Burn-offs are loud and they're scary, but this was a whole other level. This was something different. This is 300-foot flames, 400 yards from our house.
No injuries have been reported in the fire. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up over 400 points and the NASDAQ has gained 53. Coming up, enjoy the last day of warmth while you can. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:31.
Cooler weather. What a relief, unless you have old drafty windows. Soon the heat will escape through the cracks and your energy bill is going to go through the roof. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products and get brand new state-of-the-art custom windows and frames at factory direct pricing. The factory is right here in Salt Lake City, where they've been building precision windows since 1986, and you're going to save a lot of money since there's no middleman markup. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows. Even better, call now and they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Double pane argon-filled windows with a low-energy triple coating, any style, any color, and Advanced Windows gives you a lifetime warranty. If you have an issue, they're not 10 states away. They're right here in town, and they offer 0% 60-month financing. So make the call now. Get $2,500 off. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Ma, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotions. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotions, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. That's why they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $25 a month. And if you're a business owner, you could really save a fortune. Dial pound 250, say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
Hello, car donation hotline.
Hi, I'd like to donate a car to the Utah Kidney Foundation. Are you in Utah?
Awesome. Let's get some info and we'll send you a tow truck.
But I want my car donation to benefit my neighbor in Farmington who needs a transplant. Are you in Utah?
That's a no. I'm in SoCal, but you're still donating to charity.
What charity?
Doesn't matter.
Yes, I want my donation to stay in Utah.
Righteous dude. You need to call tow cars in Utah. Locals only, am I right?
Oh, yeah. I remember tow cars with a K like kidney. It's on a billboard somewhere. TOWKARS.org. That's it. Towcars.org.
If you'd like your vehicle donation to help Utah kidney patients in the Beehive State, please use the web address on their billboard, towcars.org, to donate your old car or truck. That's TOWK like kidney, ARS. Towcars.org.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Ricky Meese.
Good speeds on all the Valley freeways at this time. The crash we had in Utah County, northbound I-15 at Pioneer Crossing on the shoulder, no longer an issue. It's been cleared. We do have the final cleanup of a crash downtown at West Temple and 5th South. Arctic Spas, hot tubs, and swim spas with stores in Salt Lake, American Fork, and St. George. Perimeter heat lock insulation with free heat. The only spa built for Utah's harsh climate. ArcticSpasUtah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
It'll be a soggy day tomorrow with widespread rain and a high only in the mid-50s. Today will be cloudy with a high of 82 degrees before the storms move in late tonight. Right now, it's 70 degrees and overcast. I'm KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
And welcome to a somewhat delayed Inside Sources, although we were able to listen to Senate and House Republican leaders talk to us about an upcoming vote in the Senate to see if we can get the government reopened. I'm alongside Marty Carpenter this morning. Marty, thank you for joining us this morning, and I would be interested in your take on what we just heard, because the Republicans are clearly putting the squeeze on, and I frankly think the nation wants to put the squeeze on somebody to get the government opened again.
Yeah, I look at this and I say, this to me at this point becomes a messaging battle, which I feel is like right in my wheelhouse as a communication guy, a political communication guy.
I should have introduced you better.
And so I just kept thinking, like, as I was listening to Speaker Johnson and Senate Leader Thune walk through their talking points, I mean, essentially is what they were doing for about a half hour there uninterrupted. I feel like they've got the upper hand here, because the thing you always have to remember, Greg, is in a situation like this, when it becomes a messaging battle, the simplest message is what wins. Okay, so whoever can describe their position more succinctly, more clearly in a small little soundbite or a one line, the more likely they are to be gaining favor with the public. Right?
And the simple message in this case?
The simple message that I think that they're winning on is the Democrats are shutting down the government to provide health benefits to illegal aliens. It's very simple, it's straightforward, and it's going to be a winner for them across the board. If that's accurate, or if you get people to think it's accurate, depending on how you're looking at it, but if that's accurate and that's the message you can drive, you're going to win on this, because I think most Americans are saying, hey, we have some sort of limited resources. There's sort of a feeling of like the pie doesn't grow. There's so much to go around, and we need to get this divided up where it most benefits Americans. I think it's a winner message for them, and it's the one they just keep driving. And if they drive that message, it makes it that much harder for the Democrats to flip it and try to blame them for the shutdown. So it's easier to blame the Democrats for the shutdown, and it's easy to point out why in a way that's going to be very popular with the vast majority of the public. That's why I think they're winning.
Do you think it helps them that what we're really talking about here is a continuing resolution? That is to say, what the Democrats are sort of calling kicking the can down the road, but at either side is going to have to ask for a continuing resolution. We're not going to get anything more than that. But the Democrats are expressing a little bit of frustration that this is the second or third continuing resolution, and we just don't seem to be getting anything done.
Yeah, and it's easy. I think it was Senator Thune, maybe it was Speaker Johnson, who pointed out that they voted for 13 of these when they were in the majority, when they had a Democrat in the White House. So it's pretty easy to point out and say, it doesn't really hold water, your argument that we just can't do another one of these continuing resolutions. I thought the Speaker was very articulate as he laid out the fact that he doesn't really have anything to negotiate away in this particular negotiation, in that his party is not the one that's put any stipulations on getting to the continuing resolution. He said, we want to pass a clean one. They want to add stuff to it. While they're trying to add stuff to it, that's what's preventing us from getting it done. I can't negotiate away something that I haven't put in it. I didn't put any points in to leverage to get this done. I'm just going to hammer them essentially for trying to block things. And it's also, I think, it puts Democrats on the wrong foot generally. It's like it's unfamiliar territory for them, because usually what they do is government. They want government, and Republicans like to shrink government. And so it's sort of like, it feels like the Democrats are having a hard time getting their sea legs here to say, wait, now we don't want the government running, and here's why. And then I think if you want to add another message that I think they were driving, and I think is becoming more effective to people who are paying more attention. It's not a high-level message that people are getting logged in their brains, but I think it has the potential to be, and that is, who's holding things up? If it's not just generally the Democrats, it's Chuck Schumer. What's Chuck Schumer's motivation for holding things up? It's his own political life, right? It's his own political well-being as he tries to fight off somehow people left of Chuck Schumer in his party so that he can maintain power. All of those are winning messages for Republicans, and they're losing messages for Democrats.
So let's talk about Schumer for a minute, because the last time we were in this exact same position, he's the one that did, I'll use the word cave, but he's the one that said, let's get this done, and he took tremendous heat for that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the situation was different, Marty. Maybe things have changed a little bit, but he's done quite an about face, I believe, in response to the fact that he didn't come out of that particularly well.
It speaks somewhat to the idea that, like, it's tough to be a moderate, and I wouldn't say Chuck Schumer's a moderate, but it's tough to be anyone on either side of your party when someone is running to the outside of you, right? If you're on the right and someone's running more to your right, it's really challenging because you're forced to seem more liberal by comparison, even though you're also very conservative. In Chuck Schumer's case, he's very liberal, but he's being challenged somehow to an even more liberal position to his left that's threatening what he cares probably most about, which is retaining his seat. So at the moment, it seems like, at the very least, it's easy to paint him in a position where he's making decisions not with the best interest of Americans and American workers, but with the best interest of Chuck Schumer. And that is a winning message for Republicans and a losing message for Democrats.
So we are expected to see a vote today at Marty at 11:30. ABC senior political correspondent Rachel Scott says if we don't see a resolution today, it may not be for a couple days.
The Senate returns back to Capitol Hill today. They come back into session, and Senate Majority Leader John Thune says if Democrats do not vote for their bill to fund the government, he will likely be sending lawmakers home for the weekend.
I don't think anybody in the country wants to see that happen, Marty. And I think that's why the Republicans are having this fourth vote today, because it will squarely put the sights on the Democrats. Look, we gave you a fourth chance to get this done. They need 60 votes, which means they need 7 Democrats to switch because, let's face it, there are 53 Republicans. Yesterday, I think that the last vote was 55 to 45, so they must have got a couple votes. But I don't know if he's moving the needle today.
Right, and it may be mostly performative today, like you're saying, just have a vote to put them one more time on. Just a reminder to everyone as we head into the weekend that Republicans showed up, we were ready to open the government, and the Democrats voted against it. Now, it goes into the weekend. Most people aren't going to worry about it too much over the weekend, and they've said they'll be back on Monday to vote again. It seems like the more often you just have to put Democrats on the record, probably the better it is for you politically. I don't know that it actually moves us that much closer to getting something done. This is one of those really interesting things that happens in our government as we get more and more sort of pushed to the extremes and go into our own little camps. What we need right now are like 3 people on the Democratic side to say, you know what, this is dumb. Let's just vote for the continuing resolution and then let's go live to fight another day. But until they get to that position, we're going to see more of this going on.
Yeah, and yesterday we spoke to Congressman Blake Moore about that exact thing. And here he echoed quite closely what you just said, Marty.
What needs to happen is we need 5 or 6 more Democrats in the Senate to just realize, okay, this has gone on long enough. Senator Schumer has gotten his kind of moment to get back that he lost in March because, you know, his base and his party thinks he caved, and like give him that opportunity to message that. But let's get some of the reasonable Democrat senators to come on board. We already got 3 so far, and that's 2 more than we had last week.
So I would say this, Marty, and I don't know how accurate polls are, but the polls that we've seen have the Republicans being blamed more than Democrats for this. The poll we saw yesterday was that 48% of Americans felt like Republicans were responsible for the shutdown, and something like 27 or 28, anyway, it was less than a third, thought blame Democrats. And of course, a lot of people blame both. But if that's the take, doesn't it behoove the Democrats to keep the pressure on if America's blaming Republicans? Or do you think that America is going to switch gears and say, okay, you've had four tries, now it's on you, Democrats?
Well, the numbers may indicate what you were saying, that if the numbers were 48-27 or whatever, then you would say, oh, I could see how this could potentially be a benefit for the Democrats. I would argue that I don't think that a poll that would have come out last week, which would have been conducted in the week before, that too many people were thinking about this, which is part of why I say this turns into a messaging battle, because suddenly now the American public is paying attention to this somewhat. And I say somewhat because anecdotally I did my own little survey, and there were a number of people who didn't even realize that the government had shut down. Jokingly, I said, the federal government shut down. Have you noticed yet? And it's like, unless you had to go stand in line at TSA, probably not. So I wouldn't put a lot of faith into those numbers. I would say it turns into a messaging battle right now. And as I've outlined, I think the Republicans have the winning message. They have the upper hand on this one. And as long as they don't overreach, I think they'll continue to win the messaging war and ultimately win the battle.
I think they have what you described a minute ago, which is the more simple message, the easier track to getting this solved.
I mean, what is the Democrats' message on this? I haven't heard a coherent one. I can't tell you what they're saying. I don't even know that they're all singing from the same hymn book. And when that's the case, it almost doesn't matter if your message is good or not on the other side, though I think the Republican message is really strong. if the Democrats aren't singing from the same hymn book, then they're in disarray, and you're going to win the messaging war anyway.
We may hear from them, and if we do, we'll break away to that. But when we come back after the break, we're going to sit down with Utah Democratic Representative Doug Owens to talk about the government shutdown and the ticking clock on Utah's redistricting plan. Stay with us.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and there's a good chance you've heard me talking about our free furnace sale. The one where you buy a new air conditioner and we give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it, about $400. Well, we still have a few more spots on our schedule we need to fill, so I'm extending the sale, but I'm not quite sure for how much longer. Definitely no later than the end of October, and once I think our schedule's full enough, I gotta pull these ads, so don't wait too long to call and schedule your free estimate. The main reason we do this sale is to give you an incentive to help us keep our guys busy when the weather's mild. And thanks to your help, we're able to keep our guys and keep growing. So if your furnace and air conditioner are ready to be replaced, you owe it to yourself to at least schedule a free estimate and get all the details about our free furnace sale. Just to recap, when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. If you think you might be interested, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
The changing temps and colorful leaves means fall's in the air. Take a mental break, becoming one with your thoughts and nature, starting in Cedar City. Lighten your heart and clear your mind with a short drive to enjoy not one, but 4 scenic highways, connecting you to nothing but an open canvas of color. Vibrant shades of red rocks, amber leaves, clear blue skies, and endless shades of emerald green and cedar breaks in Dixie National Forest. Cedar City is nature's backdrop, where the forest actually does meet the trees. The journey isn't about getting there, it's about being there. Being on a hike, mountain biking, or OHVing, with eyes and jaws wide open to scenic views. Cedar City also harvests the best events. Charming organic farmers markets, promising the best pumpkin patches and hay mazes in the West. Plus the Sheep Parade down Main, October 25th. For the fall color reports, activities, eateries, and more, log on to visitcedarcity.com. That's visitcedarcity.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Cooler weather. What a relief, unless you have old drafty windows. Soon the heat will escape through the cracks and your energy bill's going to go through the roof. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products and get brand new state-of-the-art custom windows and frames at factory direct pricing. The factory is right here in Salt Lake City, where they've been building precision windows since 1986, and you're going to save a lot of money since there's no middleman markup. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows. Even better, call now and they'll give you an extra $2,500 off. on 10 windows or more. Double pane argon-filled windows with a low-energy triple coating, any style, any color, and advanced windows gives you a lifetime warranty. If you have an issue, they're not 10 states away. They're right here in town, and they offer 0% 60-month financing. So make the call now. Get $2,500 off. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
And expanded Inside Sources.
That's the sound of the clock ticking down on Utah's redistricting plan and on the government shutdown. We're going to talk to Representative Doug Owens about what Utahns need to know about both. But yesterday on this show, and I'm joined this morning by Marty Carpenter. Yesterday, Marty, on the show, we talked with Utah Republican Chair Rob Axson, who said in no uncertain terms what he thinks about the court's mapping decision.
First and foremost, I disagree with the decision of the judge here. I do not think that moving to the courts making decisions on this or even the independent commission makes sense. Our Constitution here in the state is pretty clear that the role and authority of redistricting is that of the legislatures.
So the Republicans did submit 5 proposed maps. The Democrats, I think, submitted 1. Democratic Party Chair Brian King was upset at the fact that the Utah Republican Party was encouraging public comment with respect to one of their particular maps. It was Map C. Axson spoke about King's disapproval on that issue as well.
The idea that the Utah Republican Party, or that any Utahn or any group for that matter, whether they agree with me or not, has to be silent or quiet is one that I just absolutely reject.
So we do have Utah Representative Doug Owens with us. Doug, thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Greg. Nice to be here with you. Hi, Marty.
And my co-host, Marty Carpenter, has a question about, since you're a lawyer, I think he wants to ask you about the legalities of this a little bit.
So I know just enough about this to be dangerous, and I was mostly asking our legal expert here, Greg, in the break to
I'm going to hand off to Owens here.
Help me understand this. So, all right, there's essentially a challenge made to Utah's maps. It works its way up to a district court, and a district court judge says, I agree, they weren't done appropriately. For whatever reason, they're thrown out. That forces then the legislature to go redraw boundaries. What I don't understand is to what extent does the judge still play a role in this? Like, does she just throw out the maps, and then that's the end of that process? We go create new maps, and if you want to challenge those, you start that process over? That would seem to be the case to me, and I think would make sense to a lot of people. What is the role that the judge plays in this at this point? Because if the judge then becomes sort of the arbiter of whether or not the new maps are good, I think that would feel like to a lot of people that's beyond what the situation should merit, that she gets to rule on the old maps, but now the new maps get to be created by the body that does create them, which is the legislature. Can you just help me understand what I don't understand?
Well, Marty, the way I see it is the judge is trying to fashion an equitable remedy, because the Supreme Court said the legislature could not have ignored Prop 4 like they did, okay? And so the district court is trying to make an equitable remedy that can happen before next year's election and not delay it and have a bad map stay in place. And so she has said, Judge Gibson, that the legislature can draw a map and use the best criteria that it thinks apply, and she'll consider that. If she considers that to be compliant with Prop 4, I think she's going to do it. She'll say that's the map that should be in place for next year's election. If she thinks that the legislature has not complied with Prop 4 properly, then she will go to the plaintiff's map. So that's the legal construct, trying to enforce the Supreme Court decision that says the legislature was not entitled to ignore Prop 4 and enact, and when the people say they want to restructure the way they do their government, the legislature is not allowed to just willy-nilly ignore that.
So let's talk about the logistics, Doug, of how we get there. Right now we're in a 10-day public comment period, which I think ends on Sunday. It ends on the 5th, I think. The legislature is meeting in some level of special session, or is it just the group of 10 that had the public hearings? Who's meeting on Monday?
So there'll be a committee meeting early in the morning to probably presumably recommend one map. I mean, and then there's a special session right after that to enact the map.
And that's Monday?
Yeah, that is Monday. That's all going to happen on Monday, and they'll probably take action. It's not definitive at this point, but they'll probably take action on this statutory change, which I think is a big mistake, to change Prop 4. The court said go follow Prop 4, and right out of the chute, there's a proposition again, a bill that's in play now offered by a Republican senator, Brammer, to change Prop 4 and specify some of the tests that are to be done. And I think that's a big mistake. I think we should just be following honestly Prop 4, do an honest effort at complying with the criteria stated in Prop 4. That's the only thing that's going to get the legislature's map to pass muster with the judge. And I think it's not a good idea to play games. And I think about complying with Prop 4, and I think there are some deficiencies in how the map that's I think going to get enacted. The map C clearly seems to be where people are headed in the majority party to enact map C, which I think is a very defective map. It splits Democrats out, and so there cannot have a competitive seat. When if you look at randomly drawn maps, the overwhelming majority of randomly drawn maps produce a map where Democrats are competitive.
So
in one district.
Right. With respect to map C, Doug, it is, the current map has Salt Lake County divided 4 ways. That's probably untenable. But Salt Lake County has to be divided some way because it is too large to fit in one of the parameters of Prop 4, which is that you have to have 4 districts that are roughly the same size, which is about 900,000 people. So in some respects, Salt Lake has to be divided, and all 5 of the Republican maps divide Salt Lake, I think, twice, Salt Lake County. So what additional problem do you have with the map as it relates to Salt Lake?
Yeah. So let's look at Prop 4, okay? Yeah, you're right, Greg. Salt Lake County does have to be divided. The question is how you do that. So what Prop 4 says is you're supposed to ignore party when you are drawing your map. You're supposed to look at, are you splitting cities, counties? Are you keeping communities of interest together? Are you matching up boundaries with other kinds of districts? There's 7 criteria listed, and it says you do them in this priority, okay? And you're not allowed to look at party when you do that. Then, after you draw the map, you must look at party and ask the question. This is in Prop 4. It says you must consider, are you damaging one party unduly? Are you favoring or damaging one party? And that analysis is the critical one, because if you can program a computer to draw maps with those 7 criteria that ignore party, and you can, with a keystroke, you can draw thousands of maps, okay? And if you look at those maps, the average ones, they always show at least one district where a Democrat is competitive. And what has emerged from the process that the Republicans have done in the legislature is a process where all 5 of the proposed maps do not have a competitive Democratic district. So there's something going on that suggests strongly to me that these are not being fairly drawn, and C especially has the least, the most division of Democrats, and that's the problem with the map that was enacted, right? That split Democrats almost evenly to the 4 districts, and that's classic gerrymandering known as cracking, a cracking technique, and so what we'd like to see is a fair process, and we think that the expert that was hired by the majority party, a guy named Sean Trendy, applied some tests to say that these districts were fair, and we don't think those are good tests. And in fact, his test said that the enacted map that split up the Democrats perfectly, almost perfectly, among the 4 districts, he said that was fine from his test perspective. And we don't think that was, the old map was fine, and we think that these maps A, B, C, and D, and E, we think those maps, he says, are not punitive to one party. We think they are punitive to one party. And so that's our heartburn.
All right, that was Doug Owens joining us, Utah Democratic representative. We'll learn a lot more about this next week. And when we come back, Marty, I know you've been hanging on the edge of your seat to find out what happens with Diddy Combs. He's being sentenced today, and I don't know, just listening to the defense attorneys talking, that may go for hours, so we may not get the result, but we're going to talk about that when we come back.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Adam Small with a look at our top stories this hour. We're following a developing story in Utah County. We're monitoring a wildfire that broke out last evening and has forced some evacuations. The cherry fire is burning near Hobble Creek Canyon, and fire officials got a better view of the fire lines today and now have mapped the fire at around 70 acres. It's 0% contained. An evacuation order was issued for people in the areas of Hobble Fork to Springville Crossing. That also includes some campgrounds. We will keep you updated as we get more information. Well, it's a late start tonight for the BYU Cougars as they take on the Mountaineers of West Virginia. KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff has the preview.
BYU will be putting their undefeated record on the line tonight. Last week, BYU struggled a little bit early on against the Buffaloes of Colorado.
We started slow, mainly due to just poor execution early. We just got to execute a little more precise. I think we did that a little bit better in the second half.
Defensive coordinator Jay Hill says they'll need to be diligent tonight in case the quarterback scrambles out of the pocket. BYU is favored to win tonight as they defend their 4-0 record. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
And our top national story this hour from ABC News. A judge in Texas is set to rule on whether Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA, will be reinstated. The program was blocked by a Texas judge in 2021. ABC's Matt Rivers reports the Trump administration could start taking DACA applications if the program is reinstated.
We don't have an exact date yet, but we do know is that there's 2 more chances within the month of October for both federal prosecutors and those on the immigration advocate side to respond to this proposal in front of this federal judge in Houston, and then it will be after that that this judge will make his ruling.
The DACA program started under the the Obama administration. It allows children of undocumented immigrants to legally work and live in the U.S. Your money at this moment. Great day for the markets so far. The Dow is currently up 462 points. That's almost a full percent. S&P 500 up 33. The NASDAQ is up 66. Coming up, we'll take a look at the roads and your weekend weather forecast next. KSL News Time, 10:03.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day. Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest. Hear key news updates and traffic reports. Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car. KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
At Intermountain Health, we believe life is a circle. May yours surround you with insight, a healthy perspective, trust, and reassurance. The belief that our differences aren't that different, and compassion just when you need it most. Life is a circle. May yours help you live the healthiest life possible. Intermountain Health. This March, Wendy's is fueling the madness with amazing deals on their hamburgers made with fresh, never frozen beef.
Like a juicy Dave's single for $1 and a fresh $2 Dave's double with in-app offer.
It's such a good deal, we wrote a little ditty about it. Get it for $1. Dave Single, order in the app. Dave Single, get it for $1. Choose wisely, choose Wendy's official hamburger March Madness.
Limited time offer. Participating U.S. Wendy's. See offer details and redeem at Wendy's app. Account registration required. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S. and Alaska.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
J&J Garden Center is your fall headquarters. Now through November 1st, save 20% on perennials, shrubs, containerized trees, soils, fountains, and more. You'll also find clearance trees up to 50% off. Fall is the perfect time to plant pansies, mums, and fall bulbs. Don't forget pumpkins, gourds, strawbills, and corn stalks. Plus, explore our gift shop for cozy fall decor and seasonal finds. Hurry and visit us in Layton today, and let's get your garden fall ready. J&J Garden Center, where fall begins.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
We're getting an update this morning from authorities in Grand Blanc, Michigan, regarding the attack on a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints chapel this Sunday. Let's break away to that now.
Deceased by our officers within 8 minutes. After time, I've had some chance to review the body camera footage. I've also had to review the call logs. And what we found is from the time that the call for service went out to our officers, this incident ended much shorter than 8 minutes, 3 minutes and 43 seconds. I'm going to give you a new timeline now. 10:25 and 32 seconds, Genesee County 911 receives their first 911 call stating that the caller had been shot in the stomach. 10:25:48, so that's within 16 seconds. Dispatch puts out to our officers and they begin their response. 10:27 and 46 seconds, Michigan Conservation Officer arrives on scene. That's a 1 minute and 58 second response time. 10:28 and 54 seconds, our Grand Blanc Township officer arrives on scene and exits the vehicle. That's a 3 minute, 6 second response time. Now, I'm about to get to the video. I will not release the officers' names at this time. It's a current investigation that's being conducted by the Michigan State Police. That's standard protocol within the state of Michigan that all officer involved shooting go to the state police. What they do, they review the reports, they review witness statements, they get all the digital evidence, they compile that, and then they submit that to the prosecutor's office. We are not responsible for charging officers. That is completely up to the prosecutor's office. As the officers stand right now, both of them are on paid administrative leave, meaning that they are not actively going out and responding to calls for service. Now, what you're about to see is an unedited version of the events that took place that day. It's a brief 47-second video. It has been shortened down. The reason why it's been shortened down is for the sake of this press conference. What you would see prior to the officer's response is him just responding inside his vehicle. Afterwards, for this video ending, he gets up and close and personal with the deceased, and this is not the time nor the place to review that video at that point. We have to remember people are first, and the assailant also has families that are suffering and victims as well. So what you're about to see here is two officers running to the sounds of gunfire to save lives. Very courageous actions. This is what law enforcement is trained to do, and this is how law enforcement should respond to these incidents. That's what we swear an oath to protect and serve. You're going to hear a barrage of shots being fired, several of them, in the northwest part of the parking lot of the church. Our officers then immediately start running towards that. You'll hear two additional shots, which we believe at this time are from the conservation officer. You'll also see to the left of the body camera that there's a member from the congregation that's also running that way with a handgun. he does not fire his weapon. You'll hear several loud verbal commands. Drop the gun, drop the gun, drop it now. The subject refuses to do that, and then at that time our officer fires at least 8 shots. IT, if you could turn down the lights and play the video, please.
Playing officer video of the scene this last Sunday at the church in Grand Blanc, Michigan.
I got your back there, man. Yeah, stay there. Shoot him. Get back, get back. Drop the gun now. Drop it. You good? CO, you good?
Law enforcement is clearly trying to make a point, and it seems like a very good point, that officers responded very, very quickly in this situation. The 911 call comes at 9:25 and 52 seconds. The first officer arrives at 9:27 and 46, less than 2 minutes later, and the third officer arrives just a minute later. He was there in 3 minutes, so law enforcement responded very quickly. Let's go back to the press conference.
Copy of this afterwards, okay?
Okay, I can play it right now.
No, forget it. This is the response that law enforcement needs to do. So we quickly responded. It's a hard video to watch. I know that. However, I want to touch base on our officers. The reason why we put this out is so we could all begin to heal. I know that we've received a lot of video requests through the media to get this video out. We saw no need about 3-4 weeks or whenever this officer is cleared to reopen the wounds. So we wanted to be transparent, get this out, so now we could all begin to heal. What we've done for our officers, we brought in Oakland County's peer support team. We've also brought in counselors. Again, I want to remind the public that the care center is open for you until 8 p.m. tonight over at the Genesis Conference Center. Thank you.
Go ahead and see me over here, and we'll get you a copy, okay? We're not taking any questions at this time, so if you guys want to just see me over here, we'll get you a copy.
So that was an update from the authorities in Michigan regarding the church shooting this past weekend, and I think that the point was made very, very clearly, Marty, that officers responded quickly, because that's always the thing that the public wants to know is, why did it take so long? And in this case, I think they're trying to say it didn't take very long.
Yeah. I was watching the stream of the video for the press conference, and the body cam footage that they showed to the media in this press conference was from an officer. You could see that he had some type of longer barrel gun, not a handgun, in front of him. You could see the butt of that gun as he walked forward. The officers, the body cam footage from the particular officer they showed during this press conference was not, from what I could tell at one viewing, the first officer on the scene. He was not the closest one to the shooter, nor was he the one who took the shot. He was roughly, I would say 30 to 50 feet behind the closest officer to him, and it looked like the officer who engaged with the shooter, as far as I could tell from what I was seeing, was even a greater distance in front of him than that. From the video, I didn't see, it wasn't terribly explicit. I couldn't see the actual shots being fired. You could hear what sounded, again, as the police chief said, it sounded like 8 shots being fired. But you from that video, you can't see them. So even though most things have up like a warning of what you're about to see, it was not, for our radio audience trying to picture what the rest of us were seeing who could see the video. It wasn't like the main officer who took the shots.
Right.
That's not what you saw there. You saw an officer who was trailing it by a while, and he made his way sort of across the parking lot onto the sidewalk that's just outside of LDS chapels, and they're chapels built in a pretty standard format, it appears. Gets over onto the sidewalk that runs directly adjacent to the to the chapel, and by then the video then cuts off. So it wasn't like from the video they showed right there, it wasn't like if you're picturing the most gruesome thing, it wasn't that. That's not what they showed.
That's good. I'm glad the authorities are doing that, Marty. It's important to be transparent, and they're being as transparent as they can without doing things that are going to be offensive to the viewers. When we come back after the break, I really need your help with this one, Marty. Governor Cox is coming to the aid of former opponent Phil Lyman after he received some conspiratorial accusation from political influencer Candace Owens. You're going to have to break down the parties on this one.
We'll walk you through it
when we come back.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8157. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-8157. That's 800-575-8157.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
It's the movie show today, broadcasting live from Advanced Window Products, and we're at the Advanced Window Products showroom. Oftentimes we're with Advanced Windows at one of the home shows, but today I actually get to be in the Nerve Center and see the excellent work. You guys can only display so much of this at the home show, but being here and seeing everything that you do and having your production facility right behind me, it's just a reminder, Rob Maurer and Janitha Benson, why you guys are so unique and what makes you the reason that people, when they need to replace windows, should call you.
Well, yeah, like you said, you're here at the factory. We manufacture the windows here in Salt Lake City, perfect for the Utah climate. Our glass, our vinyl is all designed for our heat, our cold, and we do custom fit to your house, your opening. And so they're all custom direct from the factory to your front door, and so you get a better price.
Now, Rob, we were talking before we went on the air. Right now is the time to replace those windows, and let me tell you, you're going to want better windows when that cold weather hits.
Yeah, absolutely. Time is now. Winter is coming. We cannot stop this winter from coming in Salt Lake and Utah and all that good stuff.
If only.
Yeah, right. If we can only stop it. But it's coming, and it's going to come fast. So right now, if you get your windows started, we're going to get them in before the holidays and before winter hits. So now's the time.
Now, for most people, they look out their glass like, hey, I don't have cracks in my window, so it's fine, right?
Yeah, not necessarily. If that cold is coming in through that old glass, you're having air filtration. With the new windows, we solve that, right? With the coatings that we use in our glass, the double locks, we take care of that.
Now, maybe people haven't heard the term high-efficiency windows. What efficiency we're talking about? Like, what does that mean to somebody inside the house?
To the naked eye, all windows look kind of the same, vinyl windows, but we have our triple coating low E glass with argon filling, so you can't see that argon between the panes of glass, but that's insulating your home. And then also our virgin vinyl is reinforced with fiberglass, so you have this energy efficient window that might look the same as a builder grade window, but it's really all the bells and whistles that's protecting your home.
Now, I know people right now, there are some listeners right now who are like, you know what? This is something we've been meaning to get to, and they want to wait to get the best deal possible. So they've waited till the movie show, as they wisely should. What deal will people get if they call Advanced Windows during the movie show?
Yeah, great question. Guys, we're going to offer $3,000 off 10 or more windows, which is fantastic.
That's an amazing price. $3,000 off 10 windows or more, but you got to call during the movie show, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Today, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Hey guys, it's Woodrow from Mint Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with ED? Well, you are not alone, and now there's a real solution that treats the root cause, not just the symptoms. Introducing our trifecta approach, a breakthrough combination of acoustic wave therapy, hormone replacement, and cryotherapy, all designed to restore blood flow, boost performance, and rebalance your hormones. Whether it's ED or hormonal imbalance, if you're ready to reignite your love life, this treatment helps bring back your energy, your drive, and your confidence. And right now, when you call, you'll receive a free consultation, a blood flow ultrasound, and an intimacy gift. That's a $650 value, absolutely free. And here's the bonus. The next 20 callers will also receive a 5-night stay at a luxury resort in Hawaii just for taking the first step. But you must call now. With 2 convenient locations in Layton and Sandy, help is closer than you think. Call 801-804-8000 now. That's 801-804-8000. Mint Medical Clinic. We'll get you back to mint condition.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
And expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
Welcome back to Inside Sources. Greg Skordas alongside Marty Carpenter. And Marty, I don't know whether you're aware of this, but I will disclose something before we start and get too far along. And that is I was involved in the selection of the attorney to represent Tyler Robinson, the man that's accused of killing Charlie Kirk.
I believe I read that.
And yes, and so in that involvement, I just have to say, so I'm not representing the state, I'm not representing, the prosecution, not representing the defense. I've just helped the county get good, competent counsel, and I'm sort of done. But because I appeared on that case, and because I actually appeared in court one day on behalf of the county, a lot of people saw me and thought that I was involved in the case. And I've gotten some of the most bizarre phone calls, emails, and texts from people who say, this is a conspiracy. He wasn't killed by the guy that's been charged. There was a drone flying over at the time. He wasn't there at the time. I mean, people are just coming off the wall, and as though I have a dog in the fight. I mean, I'm like, I don't care. But I mean, I get them almost daily from people who are, and they're supported by this and that, and they've got footage and they've got witnesses and they've got all this stuff. So I was really interested to hear what's happening here with this influencer. What's her name? Candace Owens, who I'm embarrassed I don't know that name. She's made some accusations that Phil Lyman had a hand in Charlie Kirk's UVU murder. Our governor is up in arms about it. Of course, he and Lyman ran against each other a year ago, and in a somewhat contentious election. Nonetheless, Cox has been clear that he's a bridge builder, so it doesn't surprise me that he stands behind Lyman. Lyman's furious and sort of bring it on, but can you just get us up to speed on this? I'm not familiar with this.
We should probably start here, because if you don't know who Candace Owens is, then it's fair to assume that some people listening may not as well. So let's give you some update. Candace Owens, I think you would call her a very conservative to even far right social media presence. Influencer is probably a great way to put it. Sort of a pundit who didn't necessarily appear on any of the TV networks, but has kind of built her own platform. Just to give you some indication of what her audience is like size-wise. On YouTube, she has 5.33 million subscribers. So then add on to that whoever listens to her podcast that's audio only, and where she appears on all of her various social media. And to give you some context, NBC Nightly News averages around 6 million viewers. So she has 5.33 million subscribers. Her last videos, and in fact the video that we're going to talk about most specifically, was posted, 3 days ago, and it has 3.2 million views to this point.
She's
you're talking about
deal.
That's you're talking about audiences obviously for television network television news have shrunk with the invention of cable news and then with YouTube and so on, the proliferation there. So her audience is sizable, and then you can compare it to what a nightly news audiences are there. So she's fairly right, and I would say that a lot of people would say in the last couple of years maybe has gone even more to the right and become conspiratorial in a lot of instances. I don't profess to know like everything she's ever said about stuff, but I'm just giving you just the general perception. So yes, you've summed it up pretty well. There are people in her audience, and certainly she now has made allegations that the person who has been arrested and charged, he's been charged, right?
Right, he's been charged, yes.
Tyler Robinson was, she claims it was not the killer, and then she went beyond that to say. So I'm just going to read it from the Deseret News story because that's like the most succinct way I think you can put it. She has made unfounded accusations against former Utah gubernatorial candidate Phil Lyman related to the murder of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, which happened, of course, on September 10th at Utah Valley University. I think that's whatever it is. I don't know that we need to get into much more of like what she's saying. It's on YouTube. If you really want to go see it, you can go watch it. The part that sort of became interesting is if there are two politicians that have sort of been at odds going back to the most recent gubernatorial election and the primary really leading up to the most recent gubernatorial election in 2024, it's Governor Spencer Cox and the man who challenged him, former House Rep Phil Lyman.
Right.
And
no, that election had lawsuits, had joint conferences with the Democratic.
Sure, and allegations from Phil Lyman's side saying, hey, there were improper things that were done in the Lieutenant Governor's office or the elections office.
Absolutely,
and so on and so forth. And I think people are relatively familiar with that history. The interesting thing about this then is you've got Candace Owens attacking Phil Lyman, and from what the story kind of outlines, and you can go read it at DeseretNews.com, that she had requested some videos from him because I guess he was there, or at least the story indicates that he was on campus and had met with Charlie Kirk that day, and he didn't send them to her. It seems to be the general flow of the story. And then she just sort of opens the floodgates on him and jumps to where essentially accusing him of being part of it.
That's outrageous.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nuts.
And from the reporting in the Deseret News, not offering any real evidence as to why she would do that, which is a pretty dangerous game to play. Now, the story also goes and includes that even though Spencer Cox and Phil Lyman don't see the world the same way, that Spencer Cox comes to the defense. Governor Cox comes to the defense of Phil Lyman. This is what he posted on Twitter. He says this, I have to say there are a few things worse than having people make up lies very publicly that destroy your integrity. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I don't believe Phil Lyman has anything to do with Charlie Kirk's death, and neither should you. That's the end of his tweet.
So I have to wonder why he prefaces it with, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, as though he's saying, for example, I know he didn't say that. He clearly came to the defense of Phil Lyman. I wouldn't wish it on anyone.
There is the ability to say something without saying it.
Right.
And so, those, if you've written some gubernatorial statements in your life, I can tell you that you put some thought into these and exactly how they're worded. I'm not saying that the governor necessarily did that, but if he had tried to do that, he did it very well.
I don't believe Phil Lyman had anything to do with this, with Charlie Kirk's death, and neither should you. So that's what are we hearing from Lyman?
He had responded primarily to Candace Owens herself.
He said she's the antithesis of an investigator or something like that.
Yeah, essentially saying she didn't have any kind of investigative prowess in this. And then, quote, Candace, you have questions, so do I, but yours are not questions. They are mocking, slanderous libel. When you're ready to have an actual conversation rather than just grandstand, please give me a call, close quote. So, yeah, I don't know. It's probably much ado about nothing in the end, but never fun to come in the crosshairs of someone that has that kind of platform, and probably good to respond to it and say, you've either got something to say here or something to back up what you're saying here, or you should just not say it at all.
Yeah, the conspiracy theories will continue in this case, Marty, and it notwithstanding that, I don't know the strength of the case, but the strength of the case outlined by the prosecutor in his press conference that Jeff Gray, the Utah County Attorney, seems to be that the state has a fairly compelling case. I mean, we'll see. But I've had calls just very similar to what we're talking about here. This weekend, KSL will be airing some really good programs between General Conference. Marty and I will discuss the importance of civility, or Holly and I do. Actually, in one of the segments, Ryan Jensen focuses on the value of family. When we come back, Marty and I will talk about that. Remember, we're streaming live at kslnewsradio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Adam Small. To look at our top stories this hour. We're following developing news out of Michigan right now. Police are providing an update on their investigation into the attack of a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints meeting house in Michigan on Sunday. Police released a shortened version of the body camera footage from the two officers who responded to the 911 calls. Grand Blanc Police Chief William Rennie says one of those officers fired 8 shots, killing the man suspected of shooting church members and lighting the building on fire.
As the officers stand right now, both of them are on paid administrative leave, meaning that they are not actively going out and responding to calls for service.
The full body camera footage is expected to be reviewed by Michigan State Police. 4 people were killed in the attack. We'll keep you updated as we get more information. And we have breaking news right now on KSL News Radio. Utah Governor Spencer Cox is officially calling the Utah legislature into a special session. It will be held on Monday starting at 9 in the morning. In a press release, the governor's office says the legislature will address several matters of state business. That includes choosing a new congressional map for the state's redistricting effort. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Sean Diddy Combs will be sentenced in court today after his conviction on 2 prostitution-related charges.
After a 2-month trial of emotional testimony and graphic evidence, Sean Combs is returning to court this morning to face sentencing. Based on his 2 convictions on prostitution-related charges, prosecutors say he should spend the next 10 years behind bars. Defense lawyers say he should be released by December, and Combs is expected to make his case personally when he addresses the judge in court to apologize and ask for a lenient sentence. Peter Haralambous, ABC News, New York.
And your money at this moment. Great day for Wall Street. The Dow is currently up 495 points. That's up more than a full percent. S&P 500 up 33. The NASDAQ is up 64. Coming up, we'll take a look at the weekend weather forecast, as well as how traffic is doing at this point in the morning. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
The movie show broadcasting live today from Advanced Window Products. Hey, you know how the economy's kind of slowed down a little bit, and you decided you're going to stay in your home. Well, you want to invest in it. And one of the best ways you can do it, and one of the ways that you might not think of, I mean, everybody thinks of replacing the kitchen, or everybody thinks of doing a bathroom over again, and those things are fine. But if you're staying in your home, why don't you save on your energy bills every single month and make your house look gorgeous? And you can do that by replacing your builder-grade windows with high-quality, high-efficiency windows from Advanced Windows and Doors. And I'm here with Rob Maurer and Janitha Benson with Advanced Windows, and you guys have a deal today for a movie show listeners. So now I've whet their appetites a little bit. They're thinking, you know what? I didn't think about my windows. Or, yeah, I don't like how our windows look, but all windows are the same. Well, disabuse us of these thoughts.
Right, absolutely. And I love that you brought up, the look of a bathroom remodel or a kitchen remodel that, wows your socks off. But actually, when you replace your windows, we have all sorts. We have white, we have light tan. You can do a custom color, any exterior color that you want. So you can really change the look of your home. But not only are you changing the look, you're making it more energy efficient, and you're making it more secure, more safe against the weather, against all the elements that Utah brings. And so it's like, it's going to look better, it's going to feel better, it's going to sound better. There's just so many reasons.
And then you watch your bills go down, Rob.
Absolutely. Your utility bills will go down with these high energy efficient windows. With the argon fill, the 3 coats of low E, absolutely, they will go down.
Now, all those terms may have sounded like blah, 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 blah to you, but trust me, they make a difference. And when you go downstairs on a day that you see is cold outside, the first time after you get these windows done, and the temperature does not change, and you're like, oh, Because you actually conditioned yourself over the years to know, oh, it's cold outside, it's going to be cold in here, because that's how your windows have always functioned. And then you replace them with these high-efficiency windows, and you're like, wait a minute, it feels, this is weird. It felt weird.
Well, and you
in a good way.
You want to talk about a boring home improvement is replacing your furnace or replacing your AC. So you replace your windows, your furnace and your AC are going to not work as hard. It's going to prolong the life of those appliances, and so you're
basically doing preventive maintenance on your
100%.
furnace and your AC.
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, well, tell us what the deal is for people who call in to Advanced Window Products, 801-850-9100 during the movie show today. So from now until 1 o'clock, what are you guys offering?
Yeah, guys, we're excited about this. We're going to give you guys $3,000 off 10 or more. If you call Todd, Todd's waiting for your phone call right now. He will come out and see you tomorrow. Let's get these installed before winter hits. And once again, $3,000 off 10 or more.
So $3,000 off 10 or more windows if you call during the movie show, 801-850-9100, 801-850-9100.
Lowe's knows how to get you ready for holiday hosting with up to 35% off select home decor. And get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, members get free delivery, haul away, basic installation, parts, and a 2-year Lowe's protection plan when you spend $2,500 or more on select LG major appliances. Valid through 10/1. Member offer excludes Massachusetts, Maryland, Wisconsin, New Jersey, and Florida. Installed by independent contractors. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for more details.
This March, Wendy's is fueling the madness with amazing deals on their hamburgers made with fresh, never frozen beef.
Like a juicy Dave's single for $1 and a fresh $2 Dave's double with in-app offer.
It's such a good deal, we wrote a little ditty about it.
Get it for $1. Dave's single, order in the app. Dave's single, get it for $1. Choose wisely, choose Wendy's, official hamburger March Madness.
Limited time offer. Participating U.S. Wendy's. See offer details and redeem at Wendy's app. Account registration required. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S. and Alaska.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Ricky Meese.
Good speeds on all your Valley freeways. Salt Lake City PD wrapping up a crash at California Avenue, 1500 West. And construction delays, you guessed it, on Pioneer Crossing going eastbound towards I-15. When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cypress Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypresscu.com today. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Still seeing some scattered rain around Tooele and the Salt Lake Valley right now, as well as portions of Weber and Davis County. Could continue seeing some scattered rain throughout the day. Look for a high of 81 degrees, dropping way down to a high of just 58 tomorrow with a much higher chance of rain, drying out a bit on Sunday at a high of 62. Right now, 73 degrees and light rain falling in Salt Lake City. I'm Adam Small from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
We have some breaking news. And by the way, I work with Marty Carpenter, and we start the day with breaking news from Congress that they're going to talk about the Senate's going to vote on the opening the government again. I'm tongue-tied here. Right. Yep. Then we have breaking news from Grand Blanc, Michigan, that they have some news about the shooting. Now we have breaking news from Heather Peterson at KSL News Radio that the governor
is... It's an easy money day. I think I've only done
like
2 seconds.
What's up with that? What's going on, Heather?
Yeah,
Sorry.
so as Adam just told us a couple minutes ago, Governor Spencer Cox has officially called a special session for Monday that's going to start at 9 a.m. And we did already kind of know this was coming. The legislature's been talking about having a special session on October 6th, but the governor's proclamation today makes it official. And they're going to be talking about the redistricting effort, and this is going to be the day where they are deciding on congressional maps that they're going to be presenting to the judge. But the governor's proclamation did also include a number of other issues that they're going to talk about as well.
Is it in the proclamation?
Yeah, it's a very long proclamation, though.
Sorry.
So
13 points to
yeah,
it. So.
Election
but you've
record.
memorized that by now, Heather, so why don't you just recite them to us?
No, just a preliminary glance right now. It talks about election record amendments, county governance amendments, vehicle assessments. So a lot of smaller issues. I know the redistricting one is the big one on the docket, though.
That's the big one. And no surprise, right?
No, they've had this on the legislature's schedule and timeline for the redistricting effort for the last couple of weeks. So this comes as no surprise, but now the governor's made it official.
And we broke it here on KSL News Radio. Thanks, Heather. So, Marty, no surprise?
No surprise that they're going to do it. I mean, it's sort of been the timeline that they've been working on. Nice to see that there are two ways the legislature can come into a special session. They can be called there by the governor, or in certain circumstances, they can call themselves. This just means that so far everybody's working together to get this done. So the governor's called it, and I was like it better when the governor calls them myself.
Yeah, it almost had to have been predetermined because we're in the public comment period on the redistricting, the 10-day period. Then the legislature has to meet, and there's no way they meet without calling a special session, I guess. I mean, that's what essentially happens.
In order to actually make any kind of changes, yeah, they have to do that.
Okay. Did it surprise you that, as Heather just indicated, that there are a number of other items on the agenda?
No.
I mean, and by the way, does the governor announce that you're calling a special session to address A, B, C, D, and E?
Yeah, it's outlined very specifically what you're allowed to. They don't just open the doors and say, "Hey, you're back in session. Do whatever you need." We're here to consider these specific points, and even when the legislature calls itself into session, they have to outline specifically what they're there to consider, what they're meeting to consider. So, not a surprise that they're doing that. I think it's actually probably a matter of there's a number of things that have been discussed at interim that need to get cleaned up, and while we're here, let's the cost comes with bringing everybody together. So while we've spent some taxpayer money, let's go ahead and take care of some business that needs to get done. We can do that now. Secondly, and again, I'm always looking at things from like a public messaging perspective here. Even though there is one thing that the media is going to cover and what people are mostly interested in and what's going to happen during the special session, never bad to sort of have other things surround that. Otherwise, they could essentially come in. They're going to have the votes for whichever one they want by the time they show up. So they're going to show up, have some element of debate, quote unquote debate over it, and then vote. And once it's voted on, then they're done. So to some respect, I would think from the optics perspective, you do not want to have this special session over in 30 minutes. Not that it would be quite that quick, but you'd like to say, okay, there are a number of things that we're going to go enact here and give us something else that can at least be part of the news.
And in that respect, would you expect that, let's say, and I don't recall let's say one of them is election law review reform or something like that. I don't recall how Heather articulated it. Would you expect that they're not just going to be thrown some legislation that, like the redistricting, the legislature has a heads up. They know what's going to be. They know what's proposed.
Right. It's not a surprise to anybody when they get there. They everyone knows what's on the agenda. They know what they've discussed. Each of the parties will have most likely had caucus meetings on this, so they understand where they are as a body. They have nose counts on all of the votes. It's to a certain extent like it's just needs to happen. It's not a surprise that most people up there who are members of the House or members of the Senate already know how they're going to vote on most of these things, and they go and you go through the process of hearing some speeches and some input from your colleagues on the floor, so that you can then, ultimately vote. But pretty much everyone knows how it's going to vote. There are certainly people up there who know not only how this is going to go, but probably really close to what the final vote count.
How it's going to go. Are special sessions the rule anymore, or the exception? It seems like we do have them quite a bit.
We have them with some frequency. I mean, the design here in our state, obviously, is we have a 45-day legislative session each year from the day following Martin Luther King Day until whenever that 45 calendar days runs out, usually the first week of March now. It didn't used to be that way. 10 years ago or so, it was the Tuesday, or we started the Monday after Martin Luther King Day.
Right.
And so we went till about March 14th, mid-March is when it used to happen. We have special sessions with some frequency. We don't have them every month. Some years we've had 2 or 3, and some years you don't have any. But I'd say more frequently now you probably have a couple in each year, generally to say this is something that can't wait until late January or into February for us to fix it during the session, and it's something that we need to do right away.
And Representative Doug Owens, who joined us earlier, talked about the fact that there's a group, the small group, the subgroup that held the public hearings, maybe meeting before the special session. I don't recall what he was talking about.
Well, like in any situation, you don't have what we'll have on Monday is when the entire House gets together and the entire Senate gets together and they vote on it.
Okay.
And like as the legislative process generally, not everyone has time and bandwidth to dig into every single issue. So you form committees. Committees go and explore things and make recommendations to the full body, and then the full body can get more information, and then the full body can vote, and that's when the law is enacted.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I wish you. Are you coming back next week?
I'm back here a week from today. Yeah.
Good. We need to break down what happened here. We need to have a full show together. We had 3 interruptions today, and hopefully we don't have another one. When we come back after the break, if you're headed to the movie theater this weekend, a Taylor Swift song about Elizabeth Taylor. It's going to be a party because Swifties are lining up to celebrate the official release party of Taylor Swift's new album, Life of a Showgirl. We'll check in with the KSL Movie Show and more on that after this.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
The movie show live from Advanced Window Products today. And all right, we've talked a little bit already with Rob Maurer and Janitha Benson, that the reasons you ought to get your windows replaced and how awesome it is once you've done that. But what we haven't talked about is what happens after that, besides enjoying it. Rob, you guys guarantee... You used to have a warranty that is unmatched on your windows.
Yeah, absolutely we do. And one thing, the best thing about our window is warranty. It's a local warranty, right? So everything is built in Utah, so the warranty's in Utah. And it's top to bottom. It's glass breakage, it's screen repair, it's mechanical, seal failure, labor, top to bottom.
All right, so let's talk about financing because, look, if you're going to get good windows, this is not like discount windows you get off the shelf. You're going to get them custom made and you're going to get a warranty. But you guys will work with people.
Yeah, absolutely. Our financing options, we have many, right? We have a 60 months no interest, no prepayment penalty. It's a great loan. So you can save your money through the holidays and do all that and pay for your windows at another time. Or we have a 12 months no interest, no payment for 12 months. So we have all options.
Whatever your situation is. Absolutely. Now, my brother actually had heard me talking about it and how much I enjoyed our window replacement. He was doing a remodel of his house. He decided we're going to have to remove the windows and replace them anyway. Went with Advanced Window. Loves them too.
Great.
All right. So the deal for movie show listeners right now. This is the best deal you guys have ever offered. $3,000 off 10 windows or more if you call during the movie show. Janitha, what's going to happen when somebody gets somebody to their house? What's going to happen when the guy shows up at your house?
So call right now. We'll give you that $3,000 off 10 windows or more. I like to also say, because some people only have 7 windows, so we can prorate that deal. If you only have 7 windows, still give us a call. We'll still give you a good deal. And Todd will come out to your home. He'll assess your home. He will tell you what you need, what you don't need. There's no obligation to purchase, but he can come and take a look. He's a window expert. He can say, hey, these are really old and they need to be replaced. You can replace 1, 2, all your windows, your patio doors. We really do assess it and give you an honest answer of what your home needs.
And we'll talk about this during the movie show. You guys just sort of say, like, we're going to take the responsibility on ourselves. We're not kicking this off to anybody else. If something's wrong, you call us and we make it right.
We're here to stay.
So here's the number to call to take advantage of $3,000 off 10 windows or more. 801-850-9100. You got to call during the movie show to get this $3,000 deal. 801-850-9100.
Do you have chirping smoke detectors? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you've ever experienced chirping smoke detectors, you already know how annoying it can be. A great first step to try and stop the chirping is to change the batteries. If the chirping continues, it's possible that your smoke detector has gone bad. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't even realize that manufacturers recommend replacing the smoke detector altogether after 10 years. If you remove the smoke detector from the wall, on the back you should find a date of when it was made. Do a little math and you'll know how old it is. Now, Any Hour Services knows being a homeowner means you've got a list a mile long of things to do around the house, and check my electrical system probably isn't one of them. That's why we've put together this radio special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive inspection of your electrical system that includes testing those smoke detectors and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. Call Any Hour Services to schedule at 801-443-7300. 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Today, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandswimspasale.com.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
Inside Sources.
Happened to be working alongside a Taylor Swift fan this morning, as Marty Carpenter and I are. She might be a little distracted because Taylor Swift's newly anticipated album, The Life of a Showgirl, is out now, and we have with us one of the all-time Taylor Swift fans. And you were not distracted today, but Caitlin Johnston, our producer, is with us. Caitlin, tell us what's going on. You got your Kate. You've got your.
I hear you don't like
this.
this.
I am distracted.
I hear you don't like this album, Caitlin. Is that the case?
I love this album. And I try really hard not to be just biased because it's Taylor Swift. But this album is full of infectious melodies, and I love it so much. There's a producer, Max Martin, is included. He worked on this album, and he produced 1989. I'm speaking Swiftie language here, but it's a very pop album, and it's going to get stuck in your head. And it's been a non-skip for me. I am distracted because I did stay up kind of late. I did show up to work, so I'm a responsible adult. But I'm loving this album. But we wanted to include this in the movie show segment because there's some stuff happening in the theaters with Taylor Swift, and it's this official release of a showgirl. And what's going to be happening is you'll watch the official premiere of the music video for The Fate of Ophelia. I think you have some sound if you want to play that. That's a little taste of that. Like I said, pop bops all around in this album.
Fate of Ophelia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, and dancing is encouraged at the theater, by the way. But you're gonna get the premiere of a behind the scenes look of this music video. I think she's also going to be releasing her lyric videos for the album, so I'm expecting just a listen to the album as well during this, and just her giving takes and insights on these songs, which I love because I like to see that she's actually doing a lot of interviews and stuff and giving us more of her thought process behind this because she hasn't been doing that for a long time. But it's going to be super fun, and I think people should know about it because dancing is welcome. People are going to be showing up in their orange cardigans and glittery shoes and all around.
So I have to say this, and we're joined in studio by Caitlin Johnston, our producer. I'm not a Taylor Swift fan necessarily, although I think her music is great.
But the phone line's just lit up, Greg.
I know. I will
that.
listen
It's okay, you
to.
don't
I
have
will
to
listen to it. She's probably the top performer maybe in the world right now, and deservedly so because she's a brilliant writer, brilliant performer, and she writes her own stuff. I mean, it's amazing. But the reviews I've heard of some of her stuff in the past have been very, very favorable, but they talk about her like, oh, she broke up with so-and-so, and this song emotes all the pain that she went through.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now she's in a great seemingly relationship. Is there anything about this that sort of gives you the impression that she's in a good relationship now?
Yeah, this album is definitely, she's in love. And she's enjoying it. There's a little spice in this album. I'll give that a warning to parents. There's explicit tracks, which I'm 30 years old. I'm fine with it. But it is very lovey-dovey, catchy tunes, and then there's a little spice mixed in. So, but she has kind of taken us along this journey where she writes her feelings, and we love that. Her last album, The Tortured Poets Department, was very lyric heavy and it took me a minute to process because she used very big words. This one is more, I think, melody based, and it's got, good lyrics and meanings, but it's less, I don't have to use a dictionary to understand it. So, but it's great. And I think that everyone's going to be having a fun time in the theaters this weekend. There's release parties all around, and it does wonders for the economy.
So we need to know Caitlin's favorite Taylor Swift song, not just from this
Oh,
album,
there's
but
probably a new one
overall.
every month.
Boy.
Come on, you got to have one.
I'm just going to say Clean, but honestly,
Clean.
I love this album right now.
Okay.
So Elizabeth Taylor right now might be my favorite
I'll
on this
go
one.
with All Too Well, 10-minute version.
Okay,
Greg, how about
I
you?
held back on that.
I don't know. There's one she did where she was like a ballerina or some dance or what was it?
I don't know.
I don't know. The music video, she was a
you've stumped
ballerina. What was it?
Shake It Off?
Shake It Off. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. That's
cool.
the one. That's the one.
Yeah,
Okay.
but we should turn to the movie show because Andy, I kind of wanted to ask you, what is this Taylor Swift release party expected to do in the box office? Do you know anything about that?
Well, what I'm seeing, projections are anywhere from $35 to $40 million, which would easily put it at number one for the whole week, and it's only going to play today, tomorrow, and Sunday. So 3 days, it's going to win the box office. Now, I haven't read anything, and obviously because they didn't screen it or anything, nobody knows what. Well, you know what's in it, but nobody's actually seen it yet because the first screenings don't start for I think another 10 or 15 minutes here. So. But already pre-sales and everything, and Taylor Swift could say, "Go buy this tire," and suddenly that tire would be like the best-selling tire in the whole. Even if people don't have a car, they'd go buy the tire. So, having a movie release, theaters are loving this. They're certainly going to be geared up to give guests a great experience because they remember how well and how much the Eras Tour helped the theater system. So, yeah, I don't know if they'll be packed in the same way that the Eras Tour was, but then wasn't she only doing those on certain days also?
She started that way and then it expanded, but yeah, so I wonder if this will expand too. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to go get my popcorn, figure out which showing I'm going to go to, and I love the community aspect of her bringing people together. I think it's great.
And I loved your shirt today. She's got a shirt for people who obviously can't see. It's a Step Brothers. You know the poster of the movie Step Brothers that had John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell, except for it's got Tay and Trav.
Yeah, there you go.
With the cardigans on.
Okay, Andy, you're with Rachel Wagner this morning. Tell us what the big movie of the week is.
Well, the big movie of the week, almost by default, is the Rock's The Smashing Machine. It's a biopic about an MMA fighter, Mark Kerr, and The Rock is recognizable from the neck down, but from the neck up, you wouldn't even know it was him because of the prosthetics that he has on his face. And believe it or not, some people think this is showing some great range from The Rock. He's, we'll talk about that in the movie show, but Emily Blunt is in this, and I thought in some ways she was unrecognizable. She looked way younger. And she plays the role of his girlfriend, and Rachel and I have talked already. We have some differing opinions on Emily Blunt's character.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
That we're going to talk about. But that's the big movie of the week. I don't know if it's going to outdo. It's not going to outdo Taylor Swift, obviously, but I don't know if it's going to outdo Good Boy, the horror movie with a dog as the lead.
Mm-hmm.
So, Rachel, you're going to talk about it during your show, but do you have a little different opinion than Andy on some parts of this movie?
Yes, I do. I think particularly the writing is the real letdown here.
Oh,
but it's about Emily Blunt's character in particular. We see what she did very differently.
Yes.
And it's fun. It'll be an interesting discussion.
Okay.
Without trying to give away too much of a story
variety.
that happened in real life.
Yeah. A lot of variety in the movies this week, so it'll be fun.
Okay, Rachel, you have to tell us what is our movie show question of the day.
So we are talking about the best movie based on a true story.
Okay, I'm going to start with my co-host today, Marty Carpenter. Best movie that you've seen based on a true story.
All right. 3 to 5 of them come to mind real quickly.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Moneyball. Apollo
yeah.
13.
Okay.
Catch Me If You Can.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
13 Hours. And I think the one that I would say is my winner, Social Network.
There you go. I don't even know what
13
that
Hours. Is that the one with James Franco where the kid gets trapped?
No, that's 127 Hours. 13 Hours, I think, is the one. Maybe I've got the title wrong, but it's the one with Emily Blunt's husband, John.
About the
it's the Libya.
Benghazi.
They're in the
Okay.
It's that one.
Good.
There's so many. Maybe we should do one that's what's your favorite movie with a number in the title that's not a sequel. Like
there you go.
There's 13 days in October. There's 13 hours.
28 years.
13 by itself.
So I got to tell you mine. We've only got a minute left, and I got to lay a little foundation for this. But years ago, my wife and I were representing all these people that were charged with buying houses on the short and making money. And there was this huge house boom. And as you recall, the housing market went south. A lot of banks, a lot of institutions went bad. And they did a movie based on that called The Big Short. And it is one of the best movies I have ever seen. And my wife and I watch it every year because it brings us close to home. We lived that. We literally lived that. And the movie is really very telling and very accurate. So that's my favorite movie based on a true story.
That's a great one. For a second, I thought you were going to say it took us back to the day where we had so many clients because all these people got
We did.
I know.
They were falling out of the woodwork. Well, we will look forward to your show today, Andy and Rachel, hosts of KSL's movie show, which is up next.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. Good morning, I'm Adam Small. To look at our top stories this hour. Following developing news, we just received word that Governor Spencer Cox is calling the Utah legislature into a special session. It will be held on Monday starting at 9 in the morning. The governor's office saying the legislature will address several matters of state business, including choosing a new congressional map for the state's redistricting effort. We will keep you posted as we comb through the documents and learn more. We're also following news out of Michigan. Police have released officer-worn body camera footage from Sunday's attack at a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints chapel in Grand Blanc Township. Grand Blanc Police Chief William Rennie says the footage is from 2 local officers who responded and fired their weapons.
The reason why we put this out is so we could all begin to heal. I know that we've received a lot of video requests through the media to get this video out. We saw no need about 3-4 weeks or whenever this officer is cleared to reopen the wounds.
Rennie says the 2 officers fired 10 shots combined. The suspect was killed at the scene. 4 people were killed in the attack on the church. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The U.S. Senate has returned to the floor today to vote on a bill